Welcome back to the Us versus Them channel. I'm your host Vince, and we're going to break down the next fight for the UFC 320 card we have this weekend. We got Edmen Shahbazyan versus André Muniz. Right now, Shahbazyan is sitting at a minus 290 favorite, and Muniz is at a plus 215 underdog. Been saying this a lot this card, and I just don't agree with the price tag on this one. Shahbazyan being an almost 3-1 favorite in this fight just doesn't seem right to me, especially in the fact that both guys kind of, where Shahbazyan's good is where Muniz is not great, and vice versa. Shahbazyan's more of a striker. He's got a lot of knockouts. He's got like 12 knockouts or something like that in his pro career. And then you look at a guy like Muniz, who's been knocked out 6 times in his career of his 7 losses, 6 of them by knockout. So there's that component, first off. But secondly, we've seen Shahbazyan get out-grappled in fights before. He's been out-grappled by the likes of Gerald Mearshart, Anthony Hernandez, who else we got? Jack Hermanson, Derek Brunson. These guys, they're predominantly grapplers. They're known for their grappling skills. But, André Muniz is also known for his grappling skills. One thing I can say about Muniz and his grappling is, sometimes he can play jiu-jitsu a little too much. We've seen in the fight against Jong Young Park where he didn't really, he controlled Park throughout that fight. He won a split decision, but it really could have gone either way. I can see why they gave it to Muniz because he had a lot of control time. But, when it comes to damage in that fight, you have to give it to Park, just because he was actually doing damage. So with Muniz's grappling, although he is a good grappler and he has really, really tricky transitions and he, slides into submissions really, really tricky, but he doesn't really do any damage when he does get on top. He doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of power, and he's not really willing to give himself space on top to actually implement damage. If you've got to imagine you're on top of somebody, you create that space, you land a shot, when you create that space, that gives him an opportunity to squirm out, And another thing about his grappling that I think is maybe a little bit overrated is his ability to control. When he's using chain wrestling, like he's going from a double leg, and then he takes him down, they come back up, and he uses a body lock, and they takes him down. That, Anthony Hernandez style of grappling, I've seen him use that in past fights, and it's worked for him. And he's able to get, actually in the Park fight, that was a good example of that, where he's kind of just dragging him down, going from one wrestling move to another, one takedown to another, and that does work for him. But when he gets on the ground, sometimes he can get a little too high with the hooks, or, he can let guys work against the cage and kind of slide their way back up. That type of stuff where he's not really getting a lot of control time. He's not using that wrestling pressure to keep a guy down. But, when a guy like Shahbazyan, like I said, we have seen him out-grapple before. So that's a huge question mark in this fight. Is he going to be able to out-grapple Shahbazyan? That's really hard for me to predict, to be honest with you. But one thing I can say for sure is Shahbazyan is going to outstrike him. Muniz has kind of been, he gets... I don't know. Maybe he gets a little shit on too much or something like that with his striking. I have seen in past fights where his striking looked pretty good. In the Paul Craig fight, he started. It's Paul Craig, so his striking is not setting the world on fire. But he looked good in the striking in that fight. His striking looked pretty good in the Uriah Hall fight, for instance. So he has showed in the past that his striking can look pretty okay, at least serviceable for him. But in his last couple fights, his striking just really hasn't looked that great. In the Park fight, his hands look really slow. His kicks look like they're a little more labored. He just didn't look like the same strikers that we've seen before. And obviously in the Ikram Aliskerov fight, he got knocked out in the first round. He didn't look great in that fight either. So if this was Muniz that was 2 years ago, I would definitely be laying money on Muniz, especially at this price line. But 2 years ago, we wouldn't have got this price line. This one's kind of hard to predict, I think, because, what's his name? Fuck. You have a lot of edits in this one.
That's okay.
Take that last part out.
Okay.
When I said this is tricky, whatever, you'll know kind of where to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
This fight is really, really hard to predict, to be honest with you. It can go, obviously if it gets to the ground, it's going to start favoring Muniz. If it stays on the feet and Shahbazyan's able to sprawl and brawl, it's going to really favor him. I definitely think Shahbazyan's a better striker. He's going to have a speed advantage in this fight, especially when you look at Muniz's last couple fights where he just looked like he was just a little bit slow. So I've been going back and forth on this one. But for my official prediction, I am going to stick with the Shahbazyan by knockout. I know another basic pick, but it's just really hard for me to put money on Muniz after the last couple fights, the way he's looked. It's not like, it's not like Shahbazyan's really setting the world on fire. His last couple wins are against André Muniz, who we just learned last weekend is, not the highest level in the UFC. Before that, he knocked out Dylan Budka. Dylan Budka is probably not UFC caliber. So, but for my official prediction, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go with Edmen Shahbazyan by knockout. I'm going to say right now that we're not going to get that for a good price tag. That's probably going to be minus money even, and I see zero value in that. The value is going to lie with Muniz for sure, and I think the value is going to be in. If I was going to bet on this fight at all, I'd just go Muniz money line. But to be honest with you, this is probably one we're going to leave off the parlays entirely. That's all I got for you guys in this breakdown. Stop by for the next fight breakdown when we break down Ateba Gautar versus Tristan Vines. Definitely big, heavy hitters. So that's going to be exciting to break down. It's going to be exciting for us to watch. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. And I'm out of here.